Dear learners, we will be continuing in this lecture forward. Designing effective instruments, especially for rural respondents, requires careful consideration. Here are some key tips. For discussion guides, ensure probing points are included to facilitate in-depth exploration. For questionnaire, use primarily closed-ended question for ease of response and analysis. Arrange questions logically, typically starting with general, easy questions and moving towards more specific or sensitive ones. Keep questions simple, short and clear. Avoid jargon or complex sentence structures. Avoid asking the same thing in the multiple ways, which can frustrate respondents. Phrase questions positively rather than negatively. For example, do you ever instead of do you never. Use simple everyday words. Translate the instrument into the local language accurately. Ensuring the meaning is retained. It's crucial to have a local person vet the translation. Continuing with instrument design tips for rural context. Provide clear instruction for the interviewer on how to ask each question and record the answer. If a question involves a new concept or technical term, explain it clearly, possibly using a picture or visual aid. For questions involving rating or ranking, traditional numerical scales might be confusing. Instead, use visual scales that are easier to understand, such as smiley faces, happy to sad, ladders, picture sorting, or thumbs up, down symbols. When using rating scales, prefer simpler 3-point or 5-point scales. These practices make the research tool more accessible and help gather more reliable data from diverse rural populations. Developing a good questionnaire follows a process, often visualized like this. It begins with the research objective, which determine the necessary question topics. Then comes careful wording and formatting of each questions, followed by deciding the logical sequence and overall layout. An absolutely critical step, especially in rural research, is pre-testing or pilot testing. They draft questionnaire with a small group of respondents similar to the target audience. This helps identify confusing questions, translation issues, or problems with the flow or length. Based on the pre-test feedback, the questionnaire is revised before being finalized for the main survey. This iterative process ensures the final instrument is effective and appropriate for the target respondents. We now move to step 6, organizing the fieldwork and collecting the data. The approach differs significantly between qualitative and quantitative research. In qualitative research, data collection often uses discussion guides for focus group discussions, FGDs, one-on-one interviews or participatory rural appraisals, short PRA. A key principle here is conducting research in the natural village setting rather than locations convenient only for the researcher. Interviews and discussions are typically audio recorded for accurate analysis later. FGDs are best held in neutral public spaces like schools or community halls like chaupals to ensure participants from different community segments feel comfortable. In-depth interviews, however, are often conducted at the respondent's home or another quiet place. This privacy is crucial in villages where onlookers might otherwise influence the respondent's answers, ensuring more honest and individual responses. In quantitative research, data collection relies on structured questionnaires, typically administered by field investigators hired by research agencies. Since these investigators might not have deep knowledge of the specific product or brand, careful preparation is essential. It's important they have prior experience in rural fieldwork. Before starting, they receive a thorough briefing on the questionnaire, understanding each question's intent. Mock interviews are conducted for practice. Crucially, a training session often involves taking the investigators to a village for supervised practice interviews with actual villagers. The researcher observes and provides guidance. Only after this rigorous preparation does the actual data collection commences. Strict quality control, including ongoing monitoring and surprise checks, is vital, especially in rural areas where redoing fieldwork is costly and difficult. This ensures data accuracy and reliability. Following data collection is step 7, collating and analyzing the data. Again, the process varies. For qualitative research, the journey begins with transcription, converting audio recordings and detailed notes into written text. PRA charts and visuals are also documented. This transcribed information is then organized systematically. The primary analysis technique used is content analysis. This involves carefully reviewing the text, identifying recurring themes, patterns, similarities, and differences in responses. Researchers might use techniques like coding, applying labels, or colors to categorize information and draw meaningful insights from the rich descriptive data. For quantitative research, the data from a structured questionnaire is first entered into computer software, commonly Excel or SPSS. This facilitates organization and statistical analysis. There are typically 3 levels of analysis performed. First, univariate analysis examines one variable at a time. This includes calculating frequencies and percentages. For example, what percentage of respondents chose option A. Second, bivariate analysis explores the relationship between two variables. Common techniques include cost tabulation, for example, comparing product preferences between men and women, or simple correlation and regression. Third, multivariate analysis involves analyzing 3 or more variables simultaneously to understand complex interrelationships. Techniques like factor analysis to identify underlying dimensions or cluster analysis to group respondents based on multiple characteristics fall into this category. The choice of the analysis depends on the research objective. The final stage of the process is step 8, reporting the findings. This is where the researcher communicates the study's results back to the decision makers, typically the rural marketers. The report translates the complex data and analysis into actionable insights relevant to the initial marketing problem or opportunity. A standard research report is structured logically based on the research objectives and usually includes an executive summary, a brief overview highlighting the most critical findings, the objectives, restating the business and research goals, the research methodology, detailing how the study was conducted, such as sampling, tools, techniques, the findings, presenting the key results in detail, often using charts and tables, conclusions and recommendations, summarizing the insights and suggesting specific actions based on the findings, and appendices containing supplementary materials like detailed tables, charts, or the questionnaire itself. Finally, it is important to acknowledge the need for special tools in rural marketing research. As we have discussed, traditional research instruments developed for urban, highly literate populations may not be effective in rural settings due to varying literacy levels and media exposure. To overcome this, researchers have developed and adapted specific tools designed to make it easier for rural respondents to understand questions and express their opinions accurately. These innovative tools span both qualitative techniques like enhanced PRA methods and quantitative measurement, particularly through the use of visual scales and simplified questioning formats. These adaptations are crucial for gathering reliable and valid data, for example, of how major companies are applying such innovative approaches. You might explore resources discussing new age innovation in rural research. Let's now explore some specialized techniques vital for rural research, starting with participatory rural appraisal or PRA, originating in social research and now adapted for understanding rural consumers. PRA is not just one method but a family of approaches. Its core idea is to enable local people to share, enhance, and analyze their own knowledge of their lives and conditions. A key feature is that the process is largely pictorial, with villagers themselves creating maps and diagrams. This participatory nature means the data is often inherently cross-checked and validated by the group during this creation. The researcher's role shifts from expert to facilitator, guiding the process rather than directing it. This empowers villagers and encourages voluntary participation. PRA offers several distinct benefits. It captures both spoken and unspoken information through visuals and discussions. It ensures participation across different social groups. The information setting promotes openness. It allows expression through both words and pictures. Villagers validate the information themselves, enhance accuracy, and the shared process leads to collective agreement. Some common PRA tools include: first, market access or mobility map shows where villagers go to buy things, highlighting access issues. Second, daily activity clock visualizes a typical day, revealing words or rest patterns and potential contact times. Third, Chapati program uses circles of different sizes and proximity to a central point to show the importance and accessibility of people or services influencing villagers' lives. Process map outlines the steps in activities like farming, identifying bottlenecks or opportunities. Need assessment map gauges perceptions about new ideas, access, acceptance, affordability, and identifies community needs. Wealth map illustrates income sources and spending patterns across different community segments. These tools provide rich, contextual understanding directly from community's perspective. Now, let's turn to quantitative research and the challenges of measurement, specifically using scaling tools. Traditional numerical rating or ranking scales can be problematic in rural areas. Many respondents may not be comfortable quantifying their opinions, being more accustomed to approximation in daily life. Research, including a study by the agency MART, indicates that scales with more than 5 become particularly difficult for rural respondents to grasp and use effectively. This limitation necessitates the use of simpler, more intuitive, often visual scaling tools to enable less literate respondents to express their opinions accurately in surveys. To address this, several effective visual tools have been developed. The satisfaction scale. To measure satisfaction, MART developed a scale using facial expressions ranging from very happy, high satisfaction, to very sad, low satisfaction. These are shown on flashcards, making them easy to understand. The agreement scale, used to gauge agreement or disagreement with a statement. It typically uses tick for agreement and crosses for disagreement, often or a 5-point visual format. The ranking ladder. For ranking items like brand preference, a simple ladder, either drawn or physical like bamboo, is used. Each rung represents an item, with higher rungs indicating higher preferences or ranks. These visual aids simplify the task of respondents. MART has also developed specific field procedure guidelines to ensure consistent and reliable data collection using such tools in rural settings, recognizing the unique rural realities. Practical examples can often be found in case of studies or snapshots detailing actual data collection processes. Beyond specific tools and methods, conducting successful research in rural areas hinges heavily on the researcher's approach and conduct. This brings us to crucial do's and don'ts. The primary challenge is often winning the trust of the villagers, who may be cautious due to past negative experiences. Building rapport, a comfortable and respectful relationship is therefore paramount for any researcher aiming to gather genuine insights. The following guidelines are essential for navigating interactions effectively and ethically. Here are some key do's. First, dress simply. Mirror the local simplicity in attire to make villagers feel comfortable. Second, greet respectfully. Use appropriate local greetings like Ram Ram or Namaste to show respect. Third, speak their language. If possible, converse in the local dialect. If not, have a local interpreter assist. Fourth, build a connection first. Initiate conversation on general topics of interest to the respondent before diving into research questions. This breaks the ice. Fifth, introduce the purpose clearly. Explain why the research is being done and its potential benefit to them or the community. Sixth, involve the respondent. Make them feel their opinion is valued and important for improving product or services. Seventh, make them feel heard. Listen attentively to their views and concerns, even those outside the research scope. Continuing with the guidelines, let them take the lead. Allow respondents to feel a sense of control in the conversation flow. Next, talk about general topics. Discussing village life shows genuine interest. Next, use gentle touch with care. A light, respectful touch might be acceptable with young males after rapport is built, but avoid touching women or elders. Be sensitive in wording. Phrase questions politely instead of "Are you literate?" Ask "How much have you studied?" Approach women respectfully. Male researchers should seek permission from a male family member or known associate before interviewing a woman. Avoid too many questions at once. Pace the interview, mixing research questions with general conversation. Handle group situations. Acknowledge onlookers but politely request privacy or quiet for the respondents. Avoid being too friendly. Maintain professionalism. Excessive familiarity might lead to biased answers. Take care of your health. Carry essential like water, food, and a first aid kit. Following these do's and don'ts foster trust, improves data quality, and ensures a respectful research engagement. While we have discussed methods and tools, it's crucial to acknowledge the significant limitations of the research. Understanding these challenges is essential for effective planning and realistic expectations while conducting studies in rural India. These limitations impact various stages, from designing the study to collecting and verifying data. Let's examine some key limitations. First, low literacy levels. Limited formal education among some villagers can make it difficult for them to comprehend complex questions or engage with standard rating scales. This constantly pushes researchers to innovate and simplify survey designs. Second, language and communication issues. India's linguistic diversity, with 22 official languages and countless local dialects, poses a major hurdle. Questionnaires require careful translation, and field investigators need specific training for effective communication in different regions. Third, remote and scattered villages. Rural settlements are often dispersed, small in size, and difficult to access due to inadequate infrastructure, like poor roads. Reaching these locations is time consuming and often necessitates overnight stays, significantly increasing research time and cost. Continuing with the limitation. Fourth, social taboos and gender barriers. Cultural norms such as parda system observed by women in some regions can restrict interaction between female respondents and male researchers, posing difficulties if women are the target group. Fifth, timing of interviews. Respondent availability is often limited. Men are typically engaged in work during the work, while women have demanding household schedules, especially in the morning and evenings. Researchers must strategically plan fieldwork to fit these narrow windows. Sixth, difficulties in rechecking data. Post collection data verification is challenging. Limited mobile connectivity hinders telephonic backchecks, and the cost and time involved in revisiting remote villages for physical checks are often prohibitive. While these challenges make rural research complex, awareness through planning, leveraging local insights, and using appropriate tools can help mitigate many of these issues. Despite the challenges, the rural research business in India has witnessed substantial growth, and particularly over the last decade or so, what was once a niche field has become increasingly important. Many multinational and Indian companies are sharpening their focus on the base of the pyramid market, recognizing the vast potential of low income rural consumers. This has fueled a demand for deeper understanding of rural needs, aspirations, consumption habits, and media exposure. Companies are not only commissioning more research but also developing specialized products, services, and even dedicated teams for rural markets. This interest extends to the advertising industry as well, further boosting the demand for specialized rural market insights. The growing demand has led to the emergence and strengthening of several key organizations specializing in rural research. Let's look at some major players. First, NCAER, National Council for Applied Economic Research, a well established institution known for its large scale pan India surveys covering demographics, income consumption pattern of durables and non-durable goods across both urban and rural sectors. Second, MART, Marketing and Research Team. Founded in 1993, MART is a pioneering organization in rural marketing consultancy. It possesses deep expertise in understanding rural consumer needs and behavior, working with both corporate clients and social development organizations. They have conducted significant studies on diverse rural topics like weekly markets or HATs, rural distribution, counterfeit products, and the decision making processes of rural youth and women. Other significant players include IMRB's SRI, full form Social and Rural Research Institute. This is the specialized rural and social research division of the Indian Market Research Bureau, now Kantar IMRB. It concentrates on research related to social development issues within rural communities. The Nelson Company. Nelson maintains one of the largest rural research operations in India, offering consultancy services that span the entire project life cycle, from development and planning through to implementation and evaluation. RMAI, Rural Marketing Association of India, established in 2005. RMAI plays a vital role in promoting the field of rural marketing. It assists companies in planning and executing rural initiatives and also undertakes research to enhance the collective knowledge base about rural markets. The presence and growth of these organizations underscore the increasing strategic importance of understanding and effectively engaging with rural India. To conclude our discussion on rural marketing research, let's summarize the essential points. Understanding the unique needs, habits, preferences of rural consumer is critical, as these markets differ significantly from urban ones. This necessitates specialized research approaches. The process follows systematic steps, starting with defining clear objective, setting a budget and selecting appropriate research designs, employing qualitative methods like FGDs and in-depth interviews for deep insights, and quantitative methods like surveys for measurement. We highlighted the importance of adapted tools like participatory rural appraisal and visual scaling aids to overcome challenges like lower literacy levels. Effective sampling techniques such as multi-stage area sampling and snowball sampling are crucial for reaching representative respondents. Furthermore, the researchers conduct emphasizing respect, simple language, sensitivity, and trust building is paramount. We also acknowledge persistent challenge include logistical issues like remoteness, communication barrier due to language diversity and cultural sensitivities. Finally, collected data undergoes careful analysis and is presented in a report to guide strategic marketing decisions. The rural research industry itself is growing with dedicated organizations like MART, NCAER, and Nelson playing significant roles. Ultimately, robust rural marketing research enables companies to truly understand their rural customers and develop offerings that genuinely meet their needs. Dear learners, this is all for today. We will be meeting on some new topics in the later videos. Thank you so much.